Agents, to get a high conversion rate for leads, like when you meet them and how to convert them into a client, the way that you are able to get them like skyrocketing up to be, for example, I have a 95% lead conversion rate. There are 6 things that are really kind of the secret 6 things to getting that high conversion. And that also is not just like when we're in person, but it also is like from the inception. So why is it that some agents can like talk to somebody on the phone or get like 100 leads and they can close 10 of them when other people can only close like 1? So what I want to share with you is what are those 6 things, and talk about like then how are you going to increase those 6 things so that you can then also, like myself and other more experienced agents, get that conversion rate up. Now, if you are a new agent and you're already like crushing it, then obviously one of these things or all of these things are already in your skill set. Like if you were in sales or you understand some of these things, or you just have like that magnetic personality and you know a lot about real estate. But in general, these are the 6 things. Okay, so let's go ahead and start talking about it.
I'm Kim Barber with Kim Barber Group and eXp Realty, and I've helped thousands of owners and agents with real estate since 2004.
Okay, so the first thing that we want to talk about is the quality of the leads, right? And then, so what does it mean about the quality of the leads? Obviously, if you're working with somebody that you know, like, and trust, it's going to be easier to convert that lead versus like a total stranger or an online lead, or a referral will be easier. A sign call, you have a little bit closer of an ability to talk about the community. But the quality of the leads is one of the things that will increase and dramatically impact your conversion. So I'm sure that makes sense. The second thing that I want to talk about is your skills. So when we're actually talking with somebody, and whether that's in person, we're out and about at a restaurant, hey, you're in real estate, how's the market? So the skills are not only just like in the scripts that we're going to say, but it's also in knowing like, how is the market? So that's understanding like how to then regurgitate what we know, and then also keeping our skills like fresh, keeping our knowledge like fresh. So the skills range from things like, what am I going to say, learning scripts, then your communication patterns. If you know about NLP, then that impacts your ability to like jump off the ledge, right? And how to say it. And then the third thing is, being prepared, right? Being prepared is a skill to absorb it and then be able to return the value back to them. For example, if somebody says, how's the market? Being able to respond and say something like, that's such a great question. Let me ask you, are you coming from the perspective of buying or selling? Right? Then you can tailor your response to how's the market from that perception. Does that make sense? And then, for example, you can use NLP that says something like, hey, let me come over and talk to you about getting your home sold. In contrast to when we meet and I talk to you about how I'm going to get your home sold, then we blah, blah, blah. So that emphasis and modifying these little language patterns make a big difference. So again, that talks about the second thing, which is the skills, just a couple highlights to think about there. So then the third thing is really your lead follow-up, right? So are you putting these leads into your CRM? Do you have campaigns and a strategy for how to follow up with them, right? So that is a big thing, because as you mature your business, it's really important for us to know, like, what is it that these people told us before? Are we staying with automation to give them, property drifts or home valuations? And then going back further, when we get them on the phone, are we able to establish our relationship? Are we able to use those skills and let ourselves rise above the rest because we are knowledgeable about our market? So people want to work with people they know, like, and trust, and who are experts, not something that they can just Google or go on a website and find out about. So the fourth thing does talk about that connection. So there is a thing called the Ford, right? So using the Ford means we want to think about when we're creating connection and rapport, especially like if we don't know them, but even if we do, sometimes we forget this. So Ford, the family, the occupation, the R is recreation, and the dreams for the D. So those are 4 things that really then, if we can start tapping into this, help us create connection, right? Because then when we go back to them and say something like, hey, last time we spoke, your kids were doing this or going on their social media. I noticed that you just went on this amazing vacation. How was that? It takes off the salesy perspective that a lot of us think about when we're following up with leads. The other thing about connection is understanding and learning about different personality types. So there's, depending on like where you come from in your trainings or what you've learned in your readings, what have you, there are different languages. You're going to say the disc or the this personality, or you're an expressive, or you're charismatic. So there's different words that you're going to hear, but learning how to identify those is really important so that you can then deliver that back in the way that you've learned that they receive information. So for example, in the disc profile, which you wouldn't necessarily say, hey, what's your disc profile? But I am a 99I and I'm like a 40D. So I'm very wordsy. If you meet me, you'll notice I'm very wordsy. I'm very social. I don't have any problem going up to somebody. But my D part is get to the point, right? And then there are other people that you can use different languages. I would be considered somewhat of an expressive, but definitely also like type A, right? So I don't want to read a bunch of words. At some point, I'm like, get to the point. And so if you talk to somebody who's like very analytical, maybe you find out that they're an engineer or they're in accounting, you can probably assume that they're analytical. They are going to want all the details. And when you meet with them or you talk with them, citing those details and giving them some of those facts are important. And then further understanding like the way they describe something. And so if somebody starts describing their house as it's lovely and we raised our family here and I'm looking for somebody to build their own memories, then they're more on the emotions. And so that we need to make sure that we address that when we're building rapport. So that's a little bit about the connection. Okay, so the fifth thing is that lead follow-up and your CRM. So if you're watching my other videos or we've actually already talked, or you're attending some of my trainings, you know that I am a CRM expert, and I really will emphasize the importance of putting our leads out of our phone or out of our Facebook and getting them off our sticky notes and into a CRM. So having the CRM is one thing, but then filling it out completely and running it with a strategy is what we want to do. So I do have some trainings about that. If you don't know, there's links down below that you can get our guides, which will access you into our trainings. You can also just click the links below and reach out to me if you'd like to have a one-on-one about that as well. So getting back to it, lead follow-up is important, and then having a lead follow-up based on the contact type. So if they are somebody that we know, like, and trust, then we can follow up with them. I recommend like every 75 days, going on their social media, stuff like that. But then also if like they're an online lead or a sign call or expired, we want to set up campaigns and follow up with them appropriate for the lead type. So having a CRM, a follow-up system and strategy is super important. And then that gets us to the last thing, which is number 6. So number 6 is the long-term plans. So, if they are somebody that we know, like, and trust, we're going to want to stay in touch with them like forever. And so having a process and a system that's set up so that you can stay in touch with them. I have my campaigns and my follow-up plans to go for 7 years, and then they recycle. And so you want to set those up for the same thing, but having that long-term plan, the strategy is really important. We closed a deal last year that we had actually had in our system since 2017. And as I'm recording this video, that was 5 years ago. And that 5-year ago lead closed at 1.6 million, and you can do the math. So a lot of these leads do take a long period of time. The average of a Facebook lead to convert is, for example, about 415, and other leads are shorter. And then, when you do your past clients, there's the cycle. Typically, somebody buys and sells every 7 years. Okay, so that is the 6 secrets to lead conversion, so that you can go from a lower lead conversion up high. Obviously, also the less people that you actually know, that conversion might go down because they're interviewing more than one person. If it's not a referral, they might. But your ability to conquer all of these things, hands down, is what makes you skyrocket the conversion and get more money. All right. So listen, if you found this information helpful, please do me a favor. Give me the thumbs up so that YouTube can find my channel more more and more. And then also please do subscribe to our channel, turn on the notifications so that you can get the updates of when we send more weekly videos to help agents like yourself increase their success.